So it's been a while since the last Bleach game, 14 years to be exact since Bleach Soul Ignition. I mean, there were others, but they were all mobile games, so they don't really count. Point is, it's nice to have a new Bleach game after so long, and with a roster of characters like this, there's a character for everyone. I use Shuhei, point of this video. You see, I just want to say this character is horribly mid due to the mechanic he's been given, Fear. See, his in-game mechanic is called Fear, and it has a max value of 20, builds up through the Master Few methods. It's also important to note that he has attacks that change depending on how much Fear he has, specifically his SP1 move and his signature skill. See, his SP1 move changes between three things. We have Shakaho, Sokatsui, and Hien. The difference between these moves is just damage and combo potential. Specifically, the last one for combo potential. He also has a signature skill, which gets stronger and gets more range the more fear you gain, and then there's finally his Cone move. Damage he does in general and on Soul Break changes depending on the amount of fear you have as well, but this is, as what I've mentioned previously, are the problems with the character that show the many cons of this mechanic. The first issue is how you gain fear. See, since you only gain fear when someone loses stock or when either player awakens, you're normally going to be in one place in terms of fear for a while. To put it into perspective, assume both you and your opponent both awaken without having been hit by a killing move. That means you have 6 fear, which nets you nothing. Shakaho changes to Sokatsui when you have 7 fear, and the first change in damage you do with the Kikon move comes at 10 fear, which means another thing in the revolving door of problems. Even if at this very moment in the game you land your Kikon move on a Soul Break, you're only going to do 3 damage. So now you're at 9 fear, which means you've now upgraded from Shakaho to Sokatsui, but your Kikon move still does the same damage. Now for the next problem. You just did 2 damage with your Kikon move, but if your opponent Soul Breaks you, you're going to take 4 damage. The only way you take less is if they let it rip before your health falls to 0. So let's operate under the assumption that both you and your opponent have hit each other with a Kikon move. You should either now have 12 or 13 fear, and now we come upon another problem. Assuming your opponent did 4 damage to you on their first Kikon move, which isn't uncommon, that means you're dead on the next one if they're playing smart. See, at this point, all they have to do is wait till sublimation to Soul Break you, and then they win the match. As long as they're not, playing Shuhei. Whereas in your case, you need 2 or 3 more Soul Breaks to win the match. See, if you're keeping up with the numbers, then you realize that right now, Shuhei should have about 12 or 13 fear, meaning that you either do 3 damage with the Kikon move, if it isn't a Soul Break, or 4 damage. In this case, that is, regardless. We assume that the post-awakening, you haven't landed one yet, and you never Soul Break your opponent, then you're going to need 4 Kikon moves to win the match. Now this shouldn't really be considered, but it's still a possibility. Or if you Soul Break your opponent, which is more likely every single time post-awakening, it should only take 3 Kikon moves, or if they have a revive. But for your opponent, even if post-awakening they never Soul Break you, they only need 3 Kikon moves, and if they do Soul Break, then they only need 2. All this to say Shuhei does not win the numbers game. Now, at this point you have to ask yourself, what is the point of the Kikon move being able to do 5 damage at 15 or 6 damage at 20? I'll tell you, absolutely nothing. Do the math yourself. These are situations that will never happen for this character. By the time you reach 15 fear, your opponent should only have around 3 or 4 bars of health left. Meaning, he's gained nothing, except for what almost every other character gets for free by playing normally. And for 20 fear, you won't reach it until both you and your opponent either have 2, 3, or 4 health left, meaning you once again have gained nothing. It will be like using a dishwasher to wash dishes that you already washed by hand. Sure, it looks nice, but it serves no practical purpose. There are also his spiritual pressure moves. They operate with the same kind of handicap that his Kikon moves do, to the point that until you make it to around 13 fear, Shuhei is only about half the character. Without high-end, he has no combos except for the quick attack combo and heavy combo. You can use his SP1 as a combo ender, but that's its only use until you make it to 13 fear. Now I will be entirely fair at this point. Once Shuhei makes it to 13th tier and has access to loops, legitimate pressure, and a higher power counter, the idea of soul breaking your opponent 2 or 3 more times, like, that's something you can do. It's a lot more feasible. His combos are now high damage, his signature works great as pressure that reduces guard, distance, and his counter, when used properly, can literally turn a match around. But that all depends on whether or not you can take advantage of these factors when they become available to get a win. And while I haven't talked about it, probably won't for this video, there is still the massive disadvantage Shuhei finds himself in against characters that can revive, but for now I think I'm done. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go play Shuhei in a ranked match. Now I'm adding this part in at the end since I wanted to say there's a whole ton of nuance when it comes to these situations, between Shuhei having damn near unwinnable matchups against characters like Dangai Ichigo, or generally assuming the worst case scenario when it comes to how much damage you'll be taking. For all I know, you may end up fighting someone who never soul breaks you, or someone that never ends up closing the gap that Shuhei can make with his extended range and awakening, or even another character that struggles to do damage with their Kikoan move in normal settings. I don't know all these things, and I won't claim to, but I'd like you, the viewer, to suggest changes in the comments, or even if you just disagree, let me know that too. And if you watched this far into the video, then thanks for sticking around. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Peace.